Son of a. Wait, why aren't I allowed to pick? What? Oh no! Fuck.
I think that they'll stay in the past.
Oh, you can hear me.
If that's all
Sorry.
that I lost
My mic. Oops.
I'll not have it like that. I'll be happy with 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 that. They won't let you go, set you free, or send you home. Wait, please say you know what you need is what you owed, and they won't let you go, set you free, send you home.
close enough to smell the fire. Jesus took the wheel and then he kicked me off the ride. I was busy shouting at myself from in the crowd, about to throw down and drag myself outside. I had to give myself the business. When I show myself forgiveness, it goes right between the eyes. Was looking past my shoulder, never focused on the prize. I stalked myself through burning sand the better part of 40 nights. I found myself staring in the mirror, yelling, go into the light. Cause I was in the rear view, staring at the highway, horrified. I was in the road ahead, arms wide, ready to be mummified. Gonna be the fella yelling how he's sick of always betting on his life. I'll also be the guy that brought the dice. Half a dozen chambers and I keep an empty 5. Only needed one to break the ice. Only needed one to clear my mind. Only needed one to stop time.
Wait, please say you know what you need is what you owed, and they won't let you go. Set you free, send you home.
I'll be the guy that brought the dice.
Wait, so if you don't trust the CIA or you don't trust like our institutions, then what do you trust? Wait, so if you don't trust the CIA or you don't trust like our institutions, then what do you trust?
The last track, I think I only blinked once. I skipped lunch. Blinked twice. Christ, shut your eyes. Now open wide. Fascists took the nation and inflation took a supersize. It's sad to say your teachers couldn't quite make the ends collide. But now you'll probably get to see them on the weekends doing Uber drives. Say lube it with a little oil. One, it tastes expensive too. You'd be surprised how well it helps you open up your throat so you consume the lie of human rights that was sold to you by suits and ties, designer scents on plastic men with patient fangs and ancient vice. You know, the kind of greed that makes a person lose the sight of morals, so it's easier to sleep at night. It's easier to ease their minds and pick a foreign people we could demonize. If you take a sec to sink into how war criminals think, you'll know you'd never want to see inside. If every man's an open book to look within, theirs are bound in human skin and not designed for human eyes. They are wearing human skin, but they can simply not be humanized. They aren't worth the lowest of the poor they swore to crucify. Holy sweet Geneva, there's a mass grave full of dead believers you called the police on cause you don't believe in squatters' rights. You believe the sanctity of human life is relative to human worth in terms of work and dollar signs. So listen when I say you need to find the light of day before it's too late to apologize. Like holy sweet Geneva, here's a mass grave you can colonize. Because you seem to love to talk about the spirit of America. But if you saw the spirit of this land's supposed character, I think that you'd be calling ICE. And I also think the actual America is truly represented by the call to ICE. is represented best by the descendants of some immigrants bitching about the immigrants, snitching on some immigrants, then playing dumb and innocent like good little Christians when their neighbors get deported. Until they're screaming at the store that they waited 20 minutes more because the staff was short. Because some ordinary bigot started waging war on immigrants.
Who are these people?
Who are these people? Oh my God. Max Sarge, 105 in Humboldt County. Yeah, it's hot out there.
I'm
It's
with
hot.
you, dog. It's
It's
fucking hot, bro. Florida's been record heat for like 2 weeks.
What's up, Rafiki? What's up? What's up, everyone? Descent in Bloom. Good to see you. You're about to get featured in a few minutes. And same thing with our friend Anthony Malecki. We're going to talk a little bit about his sister-in-law and what's going on there. Hey, everyone. Oh, by the way, it's Sunday night. It's Indy and Reef here. And it's How Do We Miss That on INN, in case anyone didn't already know that. I'm guessing since you're here, you knew. But for everyone on the podcast that isn't already here, hi, everyone. Kate, we appreciate you being here every Sunday night, too. Thank you.
Fuck, it's a Sunday.
Yes, how about that? It is Sunday, and
We're fucked.
that's how I feel about everything right now. We're fucked. I'm bobbing my head. You can't see it, but I'm nodding my head. Nodders. Nodders. Lone Star. Yes, Cookies, I decided to do the show. We'll see. This isn't Pornhub. No, well, you know what?
No.
We're live on 9 platforms. We might as well be streaming live to Pornhub because we're going to show people who are getting fucked all night long.
The fucking Zionists.
But we are going to show people who are getting fucked all night. So you might as well put that onto OnlyFans and Pornhub. I mean, you know, America is being fucked right now by the Trump administration quite a bit. So, yeah, not a bad idea. That's a good idea. All right. Hey, now, this is a family show. Well, not really. We dropped the F-bomb.
Sorry, children.
Yes, more. Well, I'm not sorry. I'm an adult, and this is an adult show. And if you can't handle it, maybe you should find another show that kisses somebody's ass. I don't know. I'm not going to go into any names, but
So,
I'm sure.
You guys like to party?
I'm sure we do. I like my Jesus to party too. I like my Jesus to party.
Jesus, the party.
All right. Before we get started,
West.
holy shit! Yes. Who are these people? You know, I haven't played these in a while. So Melissa,
Who are these people?
that's Melissa from Truth Stream, and we've got Jimmy Dore
Who are these people?
and
Who are
Cheese
these
Slice.
people?
Cheese Slice sent me Lopon, and
Who
then
are these people?
we've got the classic Nancy. So we're
Having
building
fun?
the
Are you
library.
just showing off your soundboard?
Well, no, I'm just
Look,
showing.
I have a
the-
soundboard too.
Well, you're the one that plays all the sounds 96% of the time. So yes,
Yes.
I decided to
As I
show it
should
off
be.
a little bit. But
It's my job.
before
trying to
we get
take my
started,
job.
well, it's sure. Yes, I do want to take your job. Take your jobs. Take your jabs. All these are awesome INN supporters. Thank you. If you want to get on that board, the ways to do that are Cash App, $ Indie News Network. If you got that on your phone, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, and that'll play something on screen, and you'll get a little Who Are These People. PayPal.me/Indie News Network. No fees if you go as friends and family. Thank you to Kieran Pine, who hooked us up this week with that. IndieNewsNow.com is our site. You can drop a link directly to keep the media free. We're also live there now. And then the Substacks, INNNewsletter.com and IndieMediaToday.com, where we're also live right now. All right, so we're going to get going because I got a lot of stuff to cover, and we got about 2 hours till we get the votes. So let's do this. All right. Descent in Bloom has been on a fucking tear. If you have not followed her yet on Substack, follow her. That's first. I brought 4 articles, and this isn't even everything she wrote this week. And they're chock full of substance. I can't get to all of them and get through all of them, but I do want to showcase a couple of things in each one of them that I think you really need to pay attention to. And I'm going to drop the links in the description afterwards and in the Substack afterwards, so you'll be able to go and read them all for yourself, because you need to see these. This one is really important, and it is directly impacting somebody in this chat. And it was written because of somebody in this chat, partially. Anthony Malecki's sister, and we're going to find out about her sister-in-law. We're going to find about Natalia in a minute. All right. Sent and Bloom wrote how Ohio built a business on disappearing immigrants. What? Yeah, this is what's going on in the Trump administration right now. An investigative report on how Ohio sheriffs turned traffic tickets into ICE money, arrested a working mother, and helped to make your county into a quiet deportation machine. Because as we know, Trump very famously said about that.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs.
All right. So it starts with a flicker of red and blue in the mirror. Well, and the cats. They're eating them all. Cats are dicks. In Ohio, it's all it takes. A tag a month out. A stop sign interpreted too loosely. A state trooper with a quota. That's the doorway. What happens after has nothing to do with traffic. And this isn't theoretical. Ohio has been perfecting the traffic stop to deportation pipeline since at least early 2024. And she's got an article there from American Immigration Council that showcases something about that. Hang on, let me do that. There we go. All right. According to the American Immigration Council, the Ohio State Highway Patrol began colluding with Border Patrol agents at the Sandusky Bay Station to target Latino drivers in northern Ohio. They pulled over vehicles on flimsy pretexts, performed ID checks, and flagged names to DHS. That was the dress rehearsal. Now the tactic is statewide, weaponized by local sheriffs with dollar signs in their eyes and ICE on speed dial. Wow, look at all those blue dots and red dots down there. Huh. Fuck Texas and fuck Florida. Under Trump's second term, sheriffs across Ohio have been deputized, some formally, some functionally, to act as federal immigration enforcers. That's fucked up right there. Through the 287G program, local cops can be trained and authorized to make civil immigration arrests, usually under the banner of quote-unquote public safety. Where have we seen this before? Portage County signed on. Others, like Mahoning County, didn't. They didn't need to. All it takes is a jail contract, a traffic stop, and the political will to disappear people for money. So let's talk about Ohio. Let's start with Mahoning County. They didn't join 287G. They didn't need to, like she said. Sheriff Jerry Green, who served 4 years as a Democrat before flipping to the Republicans and running unopposed in 2024, made a simple deal. ICE pays $125 a day for each immigrant detained in their county justice center. And as soon as Trump got elected, I contacted ICE in Cleveland and Homeland Security in Detroit and discussed with them that I would certainly have some open bed space if they wanted to come out and take a look at us as at a particular facility that they wanted to be housing immigrants. Right? So he's got a capacity for 150 people. That deal's worth over $4.5 million a year. So by this April, Mahoning was already housing 95 ICE detainees a day. Most were picked up after minor traffic stops and funneled into Green's jail like livestock into a butchery. All right, and one of them is Natalia Flechkova. And Anthony will probably correct me on the pronunciation. She's a 54-year-old legal resident. She's lived in the U.S. for 9 years, working, raising her daughter, and applying for a green card. Doing it the right way. She was stopped in Portage County, reportedly over by the Ohio State Patrol for expired tags, and ended up in ICE custody. Her family has launched a GoFundMe to help with legal costs, and if you're able to, please check it out. Her story is what led me to investigate this entire pipeline. So literally, because of Anthony and because of this article was written and this entire investigation was done. Like in a day, by the way. This woman's incredible. Natalia's booking lists her as charged with federal immigration, whatever the fuck that is, and held in Mahoning County indefinitely, but she was arrested in Portage right next door. And Portage County, that's no ordinary county either. It's one that enthusiastically joined the 287G program. Now remember, that's the formal ICE partnership that deputizes local cops as federal immigration agents. The one that they advertise on their website like they're selling you cable service. Yeah. Portage County Sheriff Bruce Zukowski didn't just accept immigration powers. He jumped at the chance to join ICE's enforcement network while already under fire for abusing his position. Because thugs of a feather joined together. So Zukowski actually said that he is surprised that more sheriffs haven't already signed on to this because of how much safer he believes it'll make their communities. Notice he's got a goatee or a Fu Manchu, and my guess is he's probably a 3%er, but that's speculation. I don't know. In 2024, though, this same man was accused of using jail inmates as free labor for his re-election campaign. They were made to haul gear, build booths, and work for the county fair under his name, not for the public, for his political machine. And now that same sheriff holds federal authority to arrest immigrants and hand them off to the same jail system his allies profit from. Just so fucked up. This guy's never faced any charges, but now he holds federal immigration authority to arrest people and then house them in one of 6 facilities that ICE is paying in their neck of the woods. And that authority was used to begin the chain that moved Natalia from a minor traffic stop into ICE custody. So this is the 6 facilities right here. Who owns them? All right. Are they used for detention? Yes. And ICE is involved. And do they have ICE contracts? You have to wonder, when a sheriff with 287G powers arrests immigrants but doesn't house them, and his neighbor runs an ICE detention contract worth millions, is it just coordination? Or is it quiet, localized profiteering? Is there some kind of deal on the back end happening? Is one county kicking some of the money, Mahoning County kicking some to Portage for getting those immigrants sent over to be housed and make their profits? Zukowski makes the arrests, Green fills the beds, they both benefit, no paperwork required. She says, now I say this because records show us that Natalia isn't the only one. Again, no surprise. In recent weeks, Mahoning booking logs have been filled with Latino and Eastern European names marked as federal-other or federal immigration. No local-other immigration. No local charges, trials, or paperwork here. Like inventory. This echoes what's happened in Tennessee, in Georgia, Colorado, also in Louisiana. And she gives a few examples here of people that have been fucked around by the system, and DACA recipient pulled over, released by local authorities, and immediately detained by ICE. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? They set him up. This isn't enforcement. It's dragnet deportation by traffic stop. And in Ohio, sheriffs have perfected the funnel straight into their jails and straight into their pockets. So they're making money from locking up the people that Trump told them that he wanted to have them lock up. Not only are they doing what he wants. I don't care about
you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
Right. Well, and then he's just going to fill their pockets also on top of it and make them wealthy. But not him. The system will make them wealthy. In early 2024, the American Immigration Council exposed a quiet, coordinated effort between Border Patrol agents and the Ohio State Highway Patrol. Then came the handoffs. Border Patrol was standing by, ID checks were called in, and people vanished. The report didn't make news for long, couple of headlines, a few statements. Then it slipped into silence. That's what they want. Law enforcement agencies across Ohio heard the message loud and clear. No one was going to stop them, so they didn't stop. Instead, sheriffs built on the model. They studied the gaps, formalized the pipeline, signed the paperwork, and made it all look legal. By the time this year rolled around, the deportation machine was already up and running. All it needed was fuel. That's people. And it came from traffic stops like the one that took Natalia. She wasn't an outlier. She was a test case. She was proof that their system works. Not the system, but their system. A legal resident with no criminal record, caught between county lines and jurisdictional doublespeak, pulled into ICE custody like it was the natural next step in a bureaucratic routine.
Right,
and now,
right away.
It's scary. And now the logs in Mahoning keep filling up. Names marked federal other. No charges, no court dates, just bodies moved like freight. Eastern European, Latino, poor. In their minds, disposable. The sheriffs cash the checks, the jails fill the beds, and the lights keep flashing in rearview mirrors across the state. In America, we don't need black sites. We have county roads. We don't need secret police. We have deputies with ICE on speed dial. We don't need to disappear people in the night. We just need a tail light out, a judge who won't ask questions, and a country willing to look away. Ohio had already built the blueprint, and no one else is coming to tear it down unless we do. All right? So that's number one. And that's Natalia.
We got to make more room for Ukrainian refugees.
All right. So on Tuesday, Anthony posted on his Twitter, update on Natalia. Today we got her car out of impound finally after all the bullshit bureaucracy, them losing paperwork, etc. Now remember, she was taken into custody, I think, in July or June. And her court date has been fast-tracked to Thursday, which I don't know what happened there. I didn't see the post. But where she will petition for a release on parole and a legal status change, we have an idea of how that's probably going to go, unfortunately. But I made a joke to him privately that her car got a faster due process than she did. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's the car, by the way. Right? So this is the GoFundMe. They've raised over $1,000 for her already. She's going to need more than that to pay for lawyers and to cover costs while she's in jail. Remember, she is a working mother. She's got a kid. Driving a box truck. I guarantee you she's lost her job at this point. Thank you to everyone that has contributed and supported so far. And thank you to Dissent in Bloom for caring and writing this article. It, like, helping change lives. And Anthony, I'm sure, will give us an update that I'll put up later. All right. This is another really important article that our friend wrote this week. Again, she's in chat, so say thank you and say hi if you can in YouTube. America's new police state, the leaked memo you need to see. And this one is fucking crazy. I saw this. I'm like, really? And nobody else is talking about this? A leaked memo from DHS reveals a terrifying plan to merge military power with immigration enforcement, and it ain't just about the immigrants. And Whitney Webb has been saying for a long time that all of this surveillance was not about keeping everyone out. It's about keeping us in and watching everything we do, and then profiting from it and pushing out the people that they don't want, that'll fight the system. They only want people that'll go along. So she says, for decades, we've invested trillions of our tax dollars into building the largest military force on earth, believing it was meant to protect us from outside threats. Well, no, we were sold the lie that it was meant to protect us from outside threats. We believed it because we were propagandized to believe that, when all it did was make us unsafer and make us the bully of the world. Now the barrel is turning inward, and this leaked memo from DHS tells us exactly how. All this military equipment that they have that they weren't able to use overseas, well, they're going to use it domestically. They say it's protecting you from the threat of immigrants. That's the story they sell. But history shows the bars built for them always close on you. There's a reason they want an army this big, and it ain't just for the immigrants. So, dated August 2nd, that was 8 days ago, 2025, the memo describes a closed-door meeting between Trump's Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, Whiskey Pete, the highest-ranking officer in the U.S. military, the general responsible for defending American soil, okay, and also a former Fox News contributor, of course, senior Pentagon advisors, and the leadership of ICE and Border Patrol. Their focus was not on overseas wars, but on how to merge military power with immigration enforcement inside the United States. Wait, I thought that was illegal. It was written by one Philip Hegseth, a senior advisor to DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, and the go-between for Homeland Secretary Security and the Pentagon. Not to be confused again with his older brother Pete, the former Fox anchor who now serves as Secretary of Defense. That's Philip. He kind of looks a little like Whiskey Pete. Older brother writes the plan. The other one commands the troops. That ain't national security. That's family business in building a police state. Trump also runs a family business. In its own words, the memo promises 100% success if the Pentagon and Homeland Security foster new ideas on national security and illegal immigration. Yeah, let's make a police state, and then you'll have 100% success. We'll watch and listen to everybody. Amazing. It explicitly pushes for a verbal agreement to place Pentagon staff directly inside ICE and Border Patrol. You know, the kind you can't FOIA, subpoena, or easily challenge in court. Huh. How convenient. It tells America's highest-ranking military generals that they must feel the urgency of the Homeland Defense mission, whatever the fuck that means. I hope their assholes are closed. And even tries to sell that immigration is the same as Al-Qaeda or ISIS cells and fighters operating freely inside America. Guys, are you wetting your fucking pants yet? You sound like pussies. Yes, you read that right. They're comparing migrants to ISIS. ISIS, by the way, Dissent in Bloom, is CIA and Israel-backed and funded. Notice how they never attack
Israel's secret intelligence service.
Right. Notice how they never attack Israelis or anyone friendly to, to Western interests. Mm-hmm. And right now, they're running Syria. All right?
Yep.
Here's the thing. This isn't just a plan on paper. 6 weeks before this memo was written, Pete Hegseth's office quietly ordered 700 active duty soldiers to detention facilities in Florida, Texas, and Louisiana to assist, quote unquote, ICE. The Pentagon called it support, but on the ground, it meant U.S. troops were already working immigration enforcement missions long before this ever leaked. Now, I want you to remember that this memo exists in public view only because it was leaked. Whether the deal it pushed for ever happened is locked inside a so-called verbal agreement, quote unquote, only known to those in the room. The best shot at truth is a whistleblower, or Pete Hegseth getting sloppy drunk and dropping a journalist into another top secret signal chat. That's funny. That already happened twice, I think, right? I mean, we know he dropped Jeffrey Gold, another top secret signal chat. That's funny. That already happened twice, I think, right? I mean, we know he dropped Jeffrey Goldberg into the signal chat. Reconnection. Hopefully we're back. Are we back?
Yeah, your internet's kind of weird.
Fuck! Oh, we're back on Substack. I see us there. Hi everybody.
Yeah, your internet's kind of weird.
Fuck! Oh, we're back on Substack. I see us there. Hi everybody.
Yeah,
wow, okay. I don't know where it lost me. At multiple agencies. Uh-oh. We're losing it. Come on. What is happening? Dropping frames. The fuck?
Your internet sucks.
I just replaced my modem too. Oh, now it seems like it might be back. I'm in the green. No? We're done? What happened? Now we're dropping again. Damn it! I don't know what to do now. Great.
You might as well keep going.
All right, well, we'll just record. All right. So again, early this year, Trump admin dismantled FOIA teams in multiple agencies. Again, they have a mandate to respond to FOIAs, but there's no mandate telling them how many people need to work there. Right? So turning record backlogs into multi-year delays while once again twisting the law in a way that benefits their fascism. How convenient. Right? What I was also going to mention just now was the alligator Auschwitz is also being done not really on a verbal agreement, but they're doing it on temporary tents so they don't have to go through permanent building codes, for example. Right? So this is a long article. I'm not going to finish this whole thing. This is talking about how LA was the dress rehearsal. All right. And then how historically we've seen this before. And she makes a comparison to 1933 Germany and the Reichstag fire. All right. Using a false flag type of event to ramp up authoritarianism. Hopefully we're back now, folks. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, children. All right. And then it's saying that the military has targeted Americans for protesting before. Look at Kent State when the National Guard troops opened fire on unarmed college students protesting Vietnam. Right. This is the danger we face when military forces brought into our streets under the pretext of security. The difference between crowd control and a massacre can be one order, one moment of panic, or one leader who sees political advantage in violence. And we know Trump sees political advantage in violence. Right? Once soldiers are in position, the potential for abuse is not theoretical. History tells us it's inevitable. We saw this last year at Columbia University with the cops. I mean, how many attacks on these unarmed kids were there? A lot. Right? Today, that may be the migrants. Tomorrow, it could be you. All it takes is for dissent to be rebranded as danger. But fear is what they're counting on. And this is really important. This is why I brought this, right? They expect you to be afraid and to allow them to continue to abuse human rights. Please don't be afraid. And even if you are, fight back with your hands trembling. I am. Fear keeps us silent while they disappear our neighbors. Fear keeps us frozen while they break the people who cannot fight back. We have to stand for those who have no one else. Think of the elderly, the sick, the disabled, and the children. Think like this little girl. In this video, you see her being held onto by an even smaller child, a confused and terrified toddler, sobbing so hard she can barely breathe. She's begging them not to take her dad, and then a woman hugs her, tries to console her. But how do you console a child who's lost everything? She tells them how mom died not long ago and the only parent she has left is being dragged away by masked men. She's wailing that she can't lose him too, begging. Right? This is a picture. It's not a video. This moment won't fade for her. It'll etch itself into her developing mind, shaping how she sees safety and trust and love for the rest of her life. Psychologists know that when children are torn from their parents, it disrupts their emotional and social development, leaving scars that can manifest as anxiety, depression, and difficulty forming healthy relationships, at minimum. A child's sense of the world as a safe place shatters, replaced by the lesson that the people who are supposed to protect you can also take everything from you. This is not just an arrest, it's a wound that'll follow her into adulthood. So now, so know that the expectation that you'll be scared, that you'll comply in advance, is the very fuel they run on, because fascists win when people are silent, cut off, and convinced they're powerless, as Jett wrote. We take that fuel away when we know the truth and refuse to bury it. Knowledge is a weapon that exposes their lies. Solidarity is a weapon that denies them control. People united are a weapon that they cannot contain. And we're going to show a little bit of weaponry in London that happened this weekend. Right? If we let this stand, LA will not be remembered as the dress rehearsal. It'll be remembered as opening night. When we stand together and make it clear that they don't get to rule in the shadows, they can't stop us all. All right? So that's another good one. Again, Dissent in Bloom. I'm going to read her little shtick here because we do value for value, as does she. She doesn't put her work behind a paywall and never will. Stories like this, the ones that pull apart the documents and track the timelines and connect the dots that they hope you'll never see, should be available to everyone who wants to read them. We believe the same thing. This kind of reporting takes time, risk, and resources. So if you value work that names names, shows receipts, and refuses to look away, consider subscribing. A free subscription helps share this work with more people. A paid subscription helps keep her going. It allows her to file FOIA requests and chase leads, verify sources, and stay on the story long after the headlines fade. They're counting on you not knowing and not remembering. We can make sure that neither happens. And I've been trying to help fill in some of the gaps on what she hasn't seen because she's relatively new to the space and to looking at all of this and waking up to all of this. And there's a lot, I mean, 250 years of lying and manipulating to get us to this place. Everybody has knowledge that we can contribute to this. Yes, trying to keep your head up in this game, Lone Star, Rafiki. Yes, we all are. All right, that's Ralph. Thank you, Ralph. All right, so the other two, this is super important, and I want you to read this because I can't go through this whole thing, but I do want to point out a couple of key important points in these. This is an executive order that she sees as the Trojan horse of our elections because it's going to allow them. It's an executive order that kind of rewrites how it's a continuation of the SAVE Act, which has gone nowhere in the Senate. So they don't want to, they can't force a vote. All right. But what's in there, but what's in this executive order is similar to what was in the SAFE Act. So it's like hedging their bets. Even if they don't get that, they'll get it through this executive order. All right. It's part of the larger voter suppression we've seen during Trump's second term. But look closer, you can also see the groundwork being laid for a centralized surveillance structure under the guise of protecting elections. That's one of the reasons for surveillance is, well, you could be fucking with the machines or trying to sow dissent in our electoral process. This was just the first crack in the glass. We'd see it again. We'd again see this pattern metastasize in the months to come. And the wildest part, it's only August. We've got well over 3 years till the next presidential. All right. But here's what the executive order actually says, let alone what they say it says about freedom and integrity and blah, blah, blah. At first glance, executive order 14248, I mean, just, bland as all hell, pretends that it's about protecting elections. That's the sales pitch, but it's not. It opens by claiming our elections are messy, unsecure, and vulnerable to fraud. Totally agree. It blames non-citizens, which is bullshit. It blames blocked voter rolls, bloated voter rolls, which is also bullshit. It blames foreign influence, which is also bullshit because the calls are coming from inside the House. It accuses the Justice Department of not doing enough to investigate and enforce existing laws. And then, of course, it proposes the solution of federal intervention to clean it all up. Trusting this administration to protect elections is like putting the arsonist in charge of a fire safety class. Right? And
let me show you something.
That's right. So here's what it means. If you live in a state that tries to protect voter access, this order says the federal government can now pressure that state to change its rules. If your ballot gets flagged by a broken database, you might not even know until it's too late. And then buried in Section 4B, Section 2, is a bombshell that hasn't even gotten enough attention. For the first time in EAC history, that's the Election Assistance Commission, which was formed in 2002 after they started implementing digital machines, the president is ordering the commission to review and, if appropriate, recertify voting systems under the new standards and then rescind all previous certifications of voting equipment based on prior standards. In plain English, that means every machine certified under older federal guidelines could lose its federal certification overnight. I think that's a great thing. Historically, though, EAC updates have only applied prospectively, meaning new standards for new machines, while older systems kept their certifications unless a state itself pulled them. Historically, the creation of a new VVSG doesn't mean that the old machines are automatically decertified, and there's a reason why they're adding this in. Again, this isn't about fixing problems. It's about building a system where the people in power get to decide who counts. When a president writes an executive order that lets Homeland Security and the Justice Department rewrite how states run their elections, then threatens to punish states that don't play along, you're not looking at reform. You're looking at fascism. That's how fascism works. Authoritarianism. Top-down authoritarianism. And she'll be the first to concede that our elections are messy, all right? This is how I found her, was about the machines and Jack Cobb, one of the first stories, right? What I've learned is that our elections didn't suddenly become messy. They were made that way by wealthy organizations that saw democracy as a business opportunity. Our elections are infested. Yep. Our elections are infested with for-profit corporations and private equity-backed vendors who got power after they cozied up to secretaries of state, congressional staffers, and election boards, lobbying their way into control of the very systems that count our votes. They pushed for proprietary voting machines. They demanded secrecy around source code and cast vote records needed for true forensic audits. They sold software updates behind closed doors, and then they lobbied to make sure oversight didn't exist. They pushed for the Help America Vote Act. In 2002, that was another Trojan horse wrapped in patriotic language. They love to do that. What it actually did was open the door for private companies to run our elections behind closed doors. You got to read this article. It's insane. But what it then leads to is, guess who gets to pay attention to and look at all of the data and help the government assemble a profile on everyone? Go ahead.
Palantir.
That's one of them. It's LexisNexis, Thomson Reuters, and Palantir can basically now follow you without a warrant by profiling you and assembling a profile of you based upon your behavior and history. Those companies buy massive amounts of personal data from third-party brokers. Most people have never heard of them, but they exist to collect and sell info about you. Companies like Axiom and Oracle's Data Marketplace know where you live, what you search, who you text, what car you drive, what prescriptions you filled, and how much debt you carry.
And know what you did last summer.
And then they sell that information to the federal government and to other businesses so that they can target market you more effectively. Now take that surveillance infrastructure and apply it to voting. Then apply it to the rest of America, right? Again, read this whole thing. It's a crazy good article. I mean, again, I wouldn't bring it if it wasn't good. She's great. But further evidence of what happened, she looked into the history of the machines, all right, where America's voting software was literally written by criminals and backed by corporations. I wonder why they're fucking corrupt. All right.
Yep.
In America, you could serve time for computer fraud and come back to write the software that decides elections. That's not a joke. That's our reality, and it's been happening for decades. Yep.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Global Election Systems had a programmer named Jeffrey Dean, a man fresh out of prison for manipulating computer systems to embezzle money, and he got hired by Diebold, who didn't think twice about bringing him on board, and then promoted him, made him head of their research and development department, where he wrote the code for the voting machines. By the way, all these people were heavily aligned with the Republican Party. All right. Again, a crazy, interesting, fascinating story of how did we get here, and doing a deep dive into the history of how we ended up with electronic voting machines and with private companies running them. All right. ES&S, Diebold, and Sequoia were the original big three. And now we're down to ES&S and Dominion, which was like a conglomerate of Diebold, which broke up, and Sequoia. Right? Again, she has all of this, but private equity firms are behind the curtain. Defense contractors and political fixers who understood one simple rule: if you control the machines, you control the outcome. Who was it that very famously said, I don't care how many votes, I care how many votes are counted. And who's doing the counting is what makes the big difference.
The spice controls the universe.
They didn't win the market with innovation. They won it with legislation. Oh, that sounds like a Cornel West line. They didn't win the market with innovation. They won it with legislation. Curtis Mayfield. So, and Miles Davis. Oh, Miles Davis. God, man, what a sad story.
That guy back there. He's back there.
What a sad
Mr.
story.
Miles is back there.
Yeah, he's behind the behind the lighted curtain, but he's back there on Reef's board. Anyway, so I'm not going to go through the rest of this article, but I'm going to link it, and I want everyone to go and read that. You guys have homework for next Sunday. I'm going to give a quiz, open book, but it'll still be a quiz, and make sure everybody read it. So, yes, Pittsburgh dude, Jazzman. Scoopity bebop. Amen, man. That's great. Love it. Descent in Blue, man. She's incredible. She's something else. That's all I can say. Yep. Indeed. Yeah, indeed. Nice. All right. So go support Descent in Bloom. Go support our friend Anthony Malecki's sister-in-law, Natalia. She could really use the help. Some crazy stories about what's happening in our country that people really are not paying close attention to because they're distracted by Twitch streamers or journalist drama or I don't know. Don't just look at some of the titles. Just look at some of the titles of some of the other shows that have been out there that we all know and love. And it's really sad that nobody wants to talk about stuff like this because, of course, the algorithm does. Because of really reward it. And because of that, we rely on you for our funding because we know you came here for actual news. So if you want to join that board and become another supporter like the people over there, incredible people, especially the people that are highlighted there, thank you so much. And Ralph Mejia, man, thank you again, hooking us up. And Kieran Pine this week, Descent in Bloom, man, thank you. She also is a supporter of this network, and we really, really greatly appreciate that. Cash App, $ Indie News Network. No fees there. co-fi.com/Indie News Network, and it'll show up on screen. PayPal.me/Indie News Network. Do it as friends and family, no fees. IndieNewsNow.com is our news website where you can not just see INN stuff, but stuff across independent media that we believe in and support. And then at the Substacks at INNnewsletter.com, that's for the network. And IndieMediaToday.com, that's my newsletter where I publish alerts for this show, and all the clips for this show go out as individual podcasts on a daily basis every morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. All right, I know that took a while, but there were so many important stories to get to there. And she wrote, and those aren't even all of them. You could spend hours. I told her I could have done a 2-hour show just covering your articles this week if I wanted to. But there's so much else happening too. And I appreciate Descent in Bloom for all she does. And she's a dynamo, a full-time nurse, RN, a mom, and engaged, and runs a foundation on top. Like, I don't know how she got time to do all this research and everything, but man, do I appreciate it. And man, does it make me just kind of shake my head and say how lucky we are to have people like her out there doing this. Seriously. All right. So now guess what time it is, everyone, kids? It's time for Fuck Israel. Yay. I need an applause line for that. It's time for Fuck Israel, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these people?
No, well, these people are those are our supporters. But no, the first person I want to bring up is Indie Media Award honoree Paula Iacella. All right, incredible Assange activist who has been posting every day on her Facebook an image talking about what day it is since the last blockade and any serious aid has gotten in, any food. This is day 161. And she then puts a whole summary in her post, but I'm just going to show the graphic. I got a lot of stuff to show this week. 161 days without food, water, or medicine. Israel's aid plan for Gaza is a key part of its strategy to corral Palestinians into concentration camps to expel or kill, which is their final stage of ethnic cleansing. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is the most gaslighting name I've ever seen, those sites are human slaughterhouses. Aid systems are a tactic of Israel's genocide. The clock's been ticking since March 2nd. And you see across the graphic in yellow, it says, aid drops crush Gaza children. And we're going to show a little bit of that. Not that, but the result of that. But before we do that, the first thing I wanted to bring was a video from Mossab Abu Toha. All right. This is an Egyptian video. This is most of you have not seen yet. It was filmed aboard an Egyptian aid plane and aired on Egyptian TV. All right. Just 3 hours ago, it captured even more shocking scenes of devastation. Again, this was 4 days ago. The Egyptian journalist describes Gaza as the city of rubble.
صورة حزينة في غزة صورة حزينة لهذا الواقع.
There's no sound.
هذه هي غزة التي كانت.
This is what Israel does not want the world to see.
I mean, just compare with the English.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Hiroshima, Nagasaki.
It's worse.
I mean,
it's worse.
Britain after the bombings. Yeah, it's way worse.
I
don't know why there's no sound, but that's what he describes. It's shocking, city of rubble. And then they're going to show more scenes in a second. This is insane. And, I mean, it's what we knew has been happening and what they are trying to gaslight into saying, well, Hamas has been blowing up every building in Gaza. What do you mean? That's Netanyahu literally came out and said that. It hasn't been the IDF, it's been Hamas.
Accusation.
There you go. Here's even more overhead helicopter footage. There's people walking along a corridor. And then just piles of rubble that used to be buildings and homes and apartments and shops and life.
Businesses and, hospitals and schools and banks.
From Furkan Gozukara, all right? This is a time-lapse, the first time-lapse video of ethnic cleansing in history. All right? And this is 19 seconds. 2023, you see all the green. 2024, it starts disappearing. 2025. 23, 24, 25. Almost no green anywhere, especially in Gaza. There was green early on. There was city. There was life. There was activity. Then there was stuff down here. Again, all gone. All gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's barely a fence line. You can see because they moved that fence line in 1.5 miles. We know this already. So, speaking of that aid drop stuff, and we talked about aid drops last week about how Andy Worthington was saying, well, maybe, hopefully there's aid drops. And I saw that, what's his, Zoran, that fucking dumbass liberal. All right.
Fucking Bob.
All right. Zoran was like, oh, or airdrops, that's a good thing. No, airdrops are a bad thing, okay? Airdrops are woefully inadequate. Okay, airdrops injure people, and airdrops are usually dropped into areas where the fucking IDF shoots people for going. So, again, let's watch this one.
Lands right on a group of people.
Oh, there was sound. We just didn't hear it.
Good. For you?
This kid was killed when an aid crate dropped on his head and killed him instantly.
Yep.
And the sad thing
Another
is the
one
Zionists,
in the practically thousands of lists of martyrs at this point.
the Zionists would call this Pallywood, and they would say that he's staged and a crisis actor.
Assholes.
Like, what? We saw the fucking thing drop. Look at the size of those pallets. They fall on somebody, they're going to kill them.
Yeah.
Right? Ugh, just fucking heartbreaking.
Keep in mind, there's fucking hundreds of aid trucks.
Speaking of
right
which,
outside.
Hey, I know that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Reef tweeted, we covered this piece from Yusuf Al-Nono.
Yusuf Al-Nono.
Right, at the Electronic Intifada over on INN News last month about how airdropped aid brought
July.
death. Right, that was last month. Or last year, was it last July?
Yeah, and no, it was this July.
That was
but
the
if you
video.
scroll back up. So in that, right? So he talks about this, surreal to see this large plane flying so low. People started waving their hands so the pilot could see them and drop aid, right? He talks about this John a hot word, right? Which means like wing and, means a lot of stuff, right? Tilting in the sky when they released packages of aid, but there was something wrong. Why was the aid package spinning at such a high speed? I saw that it did not have a parachute, or that the parachute had not opened, and that it would fall to the ground. I looked around and was shocked. Everyone had fled and was hiding to protect themselves. I didn't know where to go, and suddenly the first one fell with a huge crash that spread dust everywhere. While I was trying to avoid the package, the second one fell on a donkey, killing it. Its owner had been forced to leave it while he ran for his life. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. I was shocked by the sight of blood everywhere. I stepped forward to where the first box had dropped and pulled a box of dates from it. So this has been happening. Yep. Children know to avoid these boxes. Like,
on top of the fact that they've been dropping fucking drugs in the aid, and we covered that a couple weeks ago.
Oh, not to mention the aid generally full of mold and fucking outdated supplies.
Right. Here's another one. All right. Now remember, the Israelis are denying that they have been blocking the aid into Gaza, which is unbelievable. But literally, they have citizens with children standing and blocking trucks. This was August 4th at 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. Israelis bringing their children to obstruct aid trucks while entering through Allenby Bridge in Jericho to head to Gaza, where 2 million people are being systematically starved and bombed. Children. I mean, every one of those parents should be in jail.
But Indy, they teach their kids to hate us.
Right. Right. Here's the quality of people that we're dealing with. Israeli doctors urging the bombing of Gaza hospitals. Urging. Fuck Israel. So, this one will really upset the shit out of me.
Again and again.
Normal Island News writes parody, and she's having a hard time writing parody these days. It's so fucking difficult. She says, Palestinian footballer dies of quote-unquote natural causes after bullet strikes him in aid queue.
Fucking, yeah.
Suleiman Al-Obeid, a renowned footballer nicknamed the Palestinian Pele, has sadly died of natural causes after a bullet struck him while he was queuing for aid near Rafah. He was 41 years old, which is an old man in Gaza, by the way. Most of the football world has fallen silent, but UEFA posted this heartfelt tribute that was carefully worded to avoid telling too much of the truth. Farewell to Suleiman Al-Obeid, the Palestinian Pele, a talent who gave hope to countless children even in the darkest of times. Al-Obeid was
Yeah,
queuing.
who killed him?
Well, you know what? Oh, I had that. I don't know where it was. I had that tweet asking, who killed him? But, here it is. Yeah. Can you tell us how he died?
Where he died, where and why? Yeah,
how
exactly.
and where and why? Like, yeah. Right. There's the tweet from UEFA, which is, European football, right? All the experts. Oh, so wait, I skipped a. Al-Obeid was queuing for aid at a distribution site which was run by the kind people at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. You can imagine how upset they are by the latest outbreak of bullets on their watch. I'm told the soldiers, who definitely didn't pull the trigger, have been offered counseling. I hope they're okay. The soldiers, who definitely counseling. I hope they're okay. Experts who are scared of Israel have explained that bullet ripped through Al-Obeid's emaciated body may have been caused by a genetic condition or poor lifestyle choices. No one can think an alternative source for this bullet. It's proving quite the mystery, given there's been a large outbreak of bullets in aid queues recently. Perhaps the bullets are contagious? Who knows? Even more mysteriously,
contagious.
A total of 662 Palestinian athletes and coaches have died in Gaza since October 7th of 2023, all of natural causes.
It's a pandemic.
Such as bombs and bullets. These deaths just happened to coincide with Israel destroying 288 sports facilities, including stadiums, training grounds, gyms, and clubhouses. Thankfully, FIFA has confirmed Israel won't be kicked out of any football tournaments because of this sort of thing. It's only bad when Russia does it.
Yep.
Only Laura at Normal Island News could somehow make that even close to funny or show how ridiculous it is. I also want to mention that our friend Gordon Dimmack wrote a beautiful tribute to Suleiman. So go read it at gordondimmack.com today. He went into the player and the man and the reason why he was revered. And he said that if this guy were from Argentina or Spain, he'd have been revered worldwide. And his death, his murder, would have been made newspapers in every fucking sports section around the world.
Everywhere.
Imagine they bombed Messi. Imagine they shot Messi while he was waiting in line. Imagine they shot Ronaldo while he was waiting in line for fucking food while they were starving him. Fuck Israel. And here's another reason why I say fuck Israel. This happened today. Anas al-Sharif, one of the most decorated, prominent journalists left in Gaza, was killed today by an airstrike targeted. He posted 45 minutes ago. He posted 45 minutes ago and now he's dead. Kinetic strike, most likely keyed off his cell phone signal, which the IDF tracks, we know. The journalists in the West who toe the line with the New York Times editorial board, any word for your colleague? Fuck Israel for that. Greg Stoker, but also...
It was like, what, four other journalists or whatever?
Yeah, there were 5.
Right?
And
they hit a tent of journalists.
In front of a hospital. Anas al-Sharif, respected Palestinian journalist and father of 2, was killed by an Israeli airstrike. He died wearing his press vest. It was mostly burned. She says, I won't share the footage of his final moments. It's horrific, but it tells the truth, and so did he. Anas, like so many journalists in Gaza, was killed for documenting a genocide the world wasn't supposed to see. Palestinian journalists have turned bloodshed into testimony, broadcasting truth from Gaza to our phones. They are true heroes. Oh, man. And then, just to show how monstrous and barbaric Israelis and the IDF can be, the Israeli occupation authorities forced Palestinian Hamza Ibrahim Amireh to destroy his own house in the town of Sur Baher in occupied Jerusalem.
West Bank.
Yeah. Now this is not Gaza. There's no Hamas here. Like, this guy has to do this in his own house. How fucking dystopian can it be? Like, you have to jackhammer your entire concrete house? Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Words are not enough to describe.
Now, also, remember that there's this whole thing about how they elected Hamas. They elected Hamas. Well, first of all, there hasn't been an election in Gaza since 2006. So, and half the population still under 18, so they never voted for Hamas.
18.
Right?
No.
Hamas has already been there, and Hamas has been...
And the PA's not much fucking better.
Oh, they're worse. But Hamas has been elevated and funded by Israel, as well as all the other, Arab states around. But this is a Kyle Anzalone, Indie Media Award honoree, antiwar.com, also from the Libertarian Institute. Hamas doesn't want to govern Gaza, but refuses to disarm. So in an interview with Saudi media, a top Hamas official said the group wanted to give up governing Gaza once the Israeli occupation ends, but is not willing to disarm. Quote, "We don't want to be part of any administrative arrangements related to the management of Gaza's affairs, and we will not participate in either the government or the ruling party," an unnamed official explained. Additionally, he said that Hamas did not want to have a role at border crossings or escorting aid deliveries into Gaza. Hamas doesn't seek to be part of any arrangements related to managing the crossings or supervising the entry of aid. Wow, this is really interesting because that's not what Israel's saying Hamas wants. Israel's previously attacked Hamas's police force when it comes to escorting aid deliveries, right? The lack of an escort for aid trucks has led to starving Palestinians rushing the shipments and flooding them. Israeli forces have massacred Palestinians attempting to get aid off the trucks. The Hamas official ruled out disarmament. The problem has never been weapons. Then there's no talk of a disarmament now. The Palestinian people, along with Hamas, are subjected to unprecedented pressures as a result of the Israeli aggression. And we are responding positively to all initiatives and pressures aimed at halting the aggression. Israeli sources have ruled out reaching an agreement with Hamas, what a surprise, to end military operations in Gaza and release the remaining hostages by Palestinian groups. You mean the 10 that are still left alive? Prime Minister Benjamin war criminal Netanyahu is planning to order the occupation of all of the Strip and free the hostages by decisive military action. You mean the Hannibal Directive. The Hamas official said Netanyahu's escalation will endanger the remaining living hostages, like I just said. Any attempt to invade the Strip will expose the lives of Israeli prisoners held by Hamas to unprecedented danger. But again, Bibi's never cared about the hostages, and we know that for sure.
Correct.
So that was a relatively long fuck Israel segment with a lot of substance. Again, we're certainly not going to be refunded by, remonetized by YouTube for that. So if you're able to, out of means, please support the media you want to see in channels like this that talk about stuff like this. All right. So support the media you want to see so that we can continue doing this. So Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, over at indienewsnow.com, which is our website, or over at Substack at innnewsletter.com, or at indiemediatoday.com. I saw somebody in chat say something about how that they want to silence us and that fuck Israel segments are great, but I'm not going to stop doing them because we go live to 9 platforms specifically so that they cannot shut us down. Even if there's 5 of you that show up at our website, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep talking about this, and I'm going to keep publishing it out to Substack and everywhere else that won't block me from doing so. All right. The third thing on my agenda for tonight, after talking about the Descent in Bloom stories and fuck Israel, is to talk a little bit about what the hell's going on in London with their authoritarian ramp up and crackdown. Now, we've been following the story of Indie Media Award honoree and friend of the show, friend of the network, Gordon Dimmock, independent journalist over in the UK, fighter for press freedom for Julian Assange, friend of ours. So what Gordon wrote, and we covered a couple weeks ago, Gordon actually said he was going to, when Palestine Action had the proscription against them, which deemed them a terrorist group and they disbanded, Gordon said he was going to walk into a police station, declare that he supports Palestine Action and he opposes genocide and see what happens. But that he's going to do it with a clear conscience. And we covered that a couple times. Well, here's his latest follow-up, which was 7 words, 14 years. How saying, I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action, got me treated like a terrorist. So remember, this was about 10 days ago that he first turned himself in at a police station and made that declaration. Well, on Thursday, August 8th, I was formally interviewed under caution by counterterrorism police. This followed my decision last month to voluntarily hand myself in, a deliberate act of civil disobedience in protest at the UK government's proscription of Palestine Action under the Terrorism Act. I had prepared a written statement in advance, which was read out at the start of the interview. All right. And I think that this is the one. Okay, so this is a new one. My name is Gordon Dimmock. I'm a journalist and political activist. On Monday, July 15th, I handed myself in as a deliberate act of peaceful civil disobedience in response to the UK government's proscription of Palestine Action under the Terrorism Act. I believe this proscription constitutes a serious infringement of my rights under Articles 10 and 11 of the European Convention on Human Rights, namely the rights to freedom of expression and freedom of association. I have not committed any criminal act. I have not incited violence. My public statement was, I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action. That is the reason I'm sitting here today. 7 words, peaceful, lawful, morally grounded, are now being treated as grounds for suspicion under terrorism legislation. I made that statement as a declaration of conscience. I did not act covertly. I did not act violently. I acted in full view of the public and the police because I believe that silence in the face of genocide is complicity. Palestine Action, to my knowledge, has never killed or intentionally harmed anyone. Their intentions are focused on disrupting the supply chain of weapons used in what the International Court of Justice has described as a plausible case of genocide, to put it mildly. The United Nations, the very institution formed after the horrors of World War II to prevent genocide, is now begging the UK to do everything in its power to stop one from happening. The ICJ has found that there is a plausible case that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. They've already done that. The UN General Assembly has passed. Right. The General Assembly has passed multiple resolutions calling for a ceasefire and an end to arms sales. The UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in the occupied Palestinian territories has explicitly warned that we are witnessing a textbook case of genocide. Francesca Albanese, who's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize and should win one. And yet the UK government's response has not been to act in line with those warnings. Instead, it's chosen to criminalize the people trying to stop it. It's chosen to brand pensioners, priests, and peaceful protesters as terrorists, not because they committed acts of terror, but because they've refused to stay silent. The proscription of Palestine Action is, in my view, a political move, not a legal necessity. No terrorism charges have been brought against the founders of the group, and no evidence has been publicly presented that would justify meeting the threshold under Section 1 of the Terrorism Act of 2000. In the absence of such evidence, criminalizing support for this group appears to be the criminalization of belief itself. not of action. This sets a dangerous precedent where peaceful opposition to war crimes and genocide is reframed as extremism and words themselves are treated as offenses. He says, I've written extensively about these matters on my blog and social media platforms. My views aren't secret. I don't hide what I believe. I act openly, without violence, and in accordance with both my conscience and international legal obligations. I would also remind the officers conducting this interview that the police are bound by the Human Rights Act of 1998 to act in accordance with the European Convention on Human Rights. Upholding these rights, including freedom of expression and freedom of association, is not optional. It is a statutory duty. Of course, we know they're not going to follow that. Criminalizing peaceful speech, absent any evidence of incitement of violence, runs contrary to that duty and undermines public trust in both the law and those who enforce it. By intent. I understand that the officer sitting opposite me may not have chosen this case, and I want to say clearly, I don't view you as the enemy. I know you're doing your job. But doing one's job has never been a shield for moral accountability, especially not during times like these. Across this country, we're now seeing 83-year-old priests, pensioners, and peaceful protesters being arrested under the Terrorism Act. Not for committing terrorism, but for saying 7 words. I oppose genocide. I support Palestine action. Calling elderly citizens terrorists for opposing genocide is not law enforcement. It's political repression. Every officer involved in these arrests should take a moment to reflect on what duty really means. Your role, your oath, is to protect the public, uphold the law, and defend human rights. Those duties don't dissolve when orders come down from above. In fact, it's in moments like this, when law is used to crush conscience, that your duty matters most. I believe that one day these arrests will be remembered not with pride, but with shame. They will be studied, not in history museums, but in museums that document injustice. And I don't say that to provoke you. I say it as someone who still hopes it's not too late to stop it. So I ask you, the person sitting in front of me right now, what are you going to do? When you look back at this moment, will you be able to say you stood for what was right? Will you be able to will you be a picture in a museum, not as a warning, but as someone who took a stand? Because history does not just remember those who gave the orders, it remembers those who carried them out and those who refused to. He says, I'm standing up today because I believe in something bigger than myself, but I shouldn't be standing alone, and you're not. If the law is to have any meaning, then everyone who swears an oath to uphold it, including the police, must also stand up when that law is being twisted into a weapon, which it is. I make this statement in good faith. I will not be answering any further questions at this time and refer to this statement as my full response. So Gordon then writes about his experience, a post-interview analysis, that he says, I exercised my legal right to answer no comment to every one of the 30 or so questions put to me during the interview, with 2 exceptions. When asked whether I'd written the statement myself, I answered yes. And when asked if I supported Hamas, I replied, no comment, Pierce Morgan. My solicitor and I burst out laughing. The officers did not. Do you condemn Hamas? Much of the interview was boilerplate. Have you ever met the founders of Palestine Action? That sort of thing. The only real pushback to my statement came in response to my assertion that Palestine Action does not meet the terrorism threshold. The officer claimed I stated there was no evidence, to which my solicitor clarified he didn't say there was no evidence. He said it didn't meet the threshold. The officer went on to cite the Bryce Norton incident as justification for the group's proscription, meaning the incident of putting paint on the plane, which we covered on this show. But as journalist John McAvoy has revealed, and as Gordon has reported in previous posts, the UK government had already decided to proscribe Palestine Action before that incident occurred. The threshold narrative is being retroactively constructed. I was officially cautioned under Section 12 of the Terrorism Act. Allah, Sarah Wilkinson, and Asa Winstanley, and other journalists. The section that criminalizes membership, support, or association with a proscribed organization. It carries a maximum sentence of 14 years in prison. He says, let me be clear, I crossed this threshold on purpose, not out of recklessness, but because I believe the law itself is being twisted into a political weapon. That is the real danger, not me, or my blog, or my words. I didn't do this looking for martyrdom. I did it because I refuse to live in a country where opposing genocide is treated as extremism. Where we're saying I oppose genocide is enough to bring you under police suspicion while arming the perpetrators of that genocide. Get you a seat in cabinet. That's poetry right there. That sentence is fucking poetry. I'm fully aware of the legal risks, including the very possibility that this could backfire spectacularly. I know how the system works. I know how they say, don't worry, only to drop the hammer 6 months later. But I also know that if no one is willing to stand up and say, enough, this machinery of repression will keep rolling over everyone in its path. He says, my conscience is clear. My actions were peaceful, open, and principled. I crossed their line because their line is in the wrong place. And if standing up for humanity makes me a criminal in the eyes of the state, then it's the law, not me, that needs defending. I was allowed to leave without being charged with any offense and with my head held high. So God bless Gordon for that and for standing up like that. Go support him at GordonDimmack.com. Follow him also on Twitter and on TikTok and on Telegram at Gordon Dimmack. But there was something else that happened yesterday in London. There were a lot of protests supporting Palestine, not Palestine Action, though there were some. And the cops came out again. So what happened? Trita Parsi reports British grandmothers are being arrested on terrorist charges by their own government for speaking out against Israel's genocide in Gaza. Western governments are sacrificing everything for Israel, international law, their own values and dignity, and even their own grandmothers. All right. Daniel Fuchs, artist, friend of the show, also was there. He took a lot of pictures and video. We're going to show a couple of his things that he posted. The police have kettled the protesters and are still making arrests. They had already started arresting some of the protesters. So there were about 2,000 people there. All right. And where is the, I think it's here. Here you go. This is the one I wanted to show. Police confirmed 466 people were arrested on suspicion of terrorism today at the Palestine Action demonstration in London. This is the largest number of arrests in the history of the country at a single protest. And they were for people holding signs which say, I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action. Like Gordon did, with Big Ben in the background. All right. Again, arresting grandmothers, kettling the protesters. Again, that means roping them off into an area so they can't get out, and then arresting everyone who's there. This person says, I was arrested today in Parliament Square for holding this sign. Absolute madness. I don't support Palestine in action. I guess that means I support Palestine Action.
They still got arrested.
And they still got arrested. They didn't even say the 7 words.
Yeah.
Our upside down Orwellian country, little old ladies are terrorists instead of those committing genocide. We need to wake up and recognize who our politicians really are. And again, let's watch this one. This is unfucking real. 2 minutes and 15 seconds as they carry a woman to arrest.
Look at what you're doing. is what you want to do with your career. Guys, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
So they're arresting this grandmother, and this goes on and 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 on. And there she is. Look at how close he gets to her.
Shame on you!
She's got a fucking cane.
Shame on you!
They don't care.
Shame. Shame.
It sounds like Rachel Maddow almost saying that. It's really funny. Here's another video from Daniel. All right, this is a minute long as they're arresting another one. And literally lifting her up and carrying her.
Right, you ready? Yep. Everyone happy? We start moving.
Fucking despicable.
This is definitely a positive use of police force, right?
They should be arresting the genociders and the arms dealers and the politicians who are colluding.
How many cops to arrest one elderly lady? Pussies, all these fucking pussies.
The fucking rozzers.
Inspector 611, Inspector 611. Yeah, you guys can stay on this side, it's fine. As long as we don't go to the other side, alright?
A-cab.
Inspector 611, please, just pick up that make way.
Daniel said that they had actually... Daniel said that they actually had knocked his phone. The cops knocked his phone out of his hand at one point, but he picked it back up. And final report out of Declan O'Mulrooney from The Spectacle, Irish writer. The police managed to arrest about a fifth of the people who turned up. So like you said, they can't arrest us all. Amongst the terrorists, suspected terrorists were dozens of pensioners, about 20 doctors or nurses, and a blind chap in a wheelchair. And there he is.
Yeah, I saw
this one. Seriously.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Unbelievable. London has fallen. But it's not like they weren't already captured in an authoritarian beforehand, but holy shit, man. They don't need to arrest people. They know nothing will come of these protests. No, they want to arrest people. They do need to. They need to make a public spectacle. They want to silence dissent.
Yeah.
Period. They need to silence people that aren't. Yeah. And get everybody in line, Cookies. That's really how I feel
Send
about
them to the Tower of London.
Yeah,
Fucking
Kamishwari Cape. Remember
much.
Father Daniel Berrigan? Remember Daniel Berrigan. Yes. I mean, it's crazy. They don't care about your protests. No, there's only one option left, and nobody has the balls to do it. Well, there's more than one. Look, the financial boycott. Yes, I agree with you. And guillotines are right there. GUILLOTINE. But I know they don't have the balls to do it. They're too comfortable in their lives. Yeah, Dissent in Bloom. Free Palestine. Shame on you, Britain, but I'm not surprised. Just look at your imperialist roots. No better than America. Yeah. I mean, it's infuriating to see what's happening here. Right? Why is Rachel shaming her? I don't know, but she's coming to a Substack near you.
Coming to a
It's
Substack
not.
newsletter near
I
you.
promise.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Go watch Game of Thrones. Just don't watch the last 2 seasons. Well, last season.
Well, talking about
don't watch that.
Authoritarianism in London also will not get us remonetized by YouTube. So if you're able to and of means, please support independent media by some other means like Cash App, $ Indie News Network, or ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, or over at PayPal at Indie News Network, or at IndieNewsNow.com. That's our news website. At INNnewsletter.com for the network,
or at indiemediatoday.com, which is also houses this show. All right.
Money, boy.
Yeah, that certainly does help. And again, thank you to everyone that has contributed. Mastermind Hour says, I would be really upset if I didn't realize this is all just a simulation anyway. Yes, we are living in the Matrix for sure. I would love to hit the reset button some days. Wouldn't be bad. The world has fallen, or Ralph is also saying, correction, the governments around the world have shown us what they are. More that they've shown their asses, and that, they basically have dropped any pretense that they're doing anything on our behalf. All right, well, this is good. We have some time to get to a lightning round, and then we have a little time to take a break before boats at midnight Eastern. So I have a couple of stories that I'm not going to read in full, but did want to show. And again, links to these will be in the Substack about from the show afterwards. So first one is from Sludge, independent outlet, written by David Moore, talking about how senators, what a surprise, claim to care about starvation in Gaza, then they vote for more bombs. And again, this is not a surprise to anyone that watches this show. But Senate Democrats signed a letter calling for urgent delivery of humanitarian aid in Gaza. It's performative theater because Trump's in office. They all sent the stuff there. Yeah. They did this under Biden and they were silent. But now that Trump is in office...
And they were definitely going to do it under fucking Harris as well.
Right. They were going to hold her accountable. Sure. All right. So... Again, they signed a letter, a strongly worded letter, right? But then they voted last week for the sale of offensive bombs to Israel's military and assault rifles for the IDF, for the police force. That's nice. 27 Senate Democrats voted in favor of a resolution introduced by Senator Sheepdog Bernie Sanders that sought to block the sale of specific weapons to Israel for its war in Gaza. All right? That's not even all of them. That's what they call the offensive weapons, not Iron Dome, not a bunch of other shit. And Senator Bernie Sanders knows that there aren't enough senators that would vote against that. So it costs him nothing to put this up. And then he's got half the progressive left screaming, Bernie's fighting for us. You fucking morons. Okay. Among Democratic senators, the count was a new high watermark for Sanders' resolutions disapproving of a certain offensive weapon sales to Israel.
Yeah,
and represents more than half the caucus. Yeah, well, no, he didn't in this case, but 25 of them still voted with the Republican. All right. Also, last week, 2 Israeli human rights organizations, B'Tselema and Physicians for Human Rights Israel.
B'Tselem.
Right.
I think that's misspelled, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Shouldn't have an A in there.
Yeah. Okay. They were found by Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch in public announcements. They all are calling to end, they're calling it genocide. 19 of the 44 Democratic senators who recently called in a letter addressed to Trump administration officials for humanitarian aid in Gaza did not vote for either of Sanders' resolutions, including Schumer and Gillibrand and Schiff and Padilla from California.
Oh,
what a shock.
Chucky the Shoom.
Other lawmakers whose votes on the...
dude.
Right?
And I'm your friend to the end.
Right. Oh, God. All right. Mark Warner and Cory Booker were the 2 top Democratic recipients in the Senate of earmarked contributions from AIPAC this year. Go figure.
So it wasn't just Rabbi Shmuley on his back like fucking Yoda? It wasn't just that? It wasn't?
Allegedly, that was Shmuley, right?
I thought it was definitely that.
The resolution would have stopped the resolution, which again went through and would have stopped the sales approved by Trump admin of $676 million of bombs and $24 million of firearms to Israel, signaling the senator's disapproval on humanitarian grounds. It didn't do that. Sanders' office has underscored its view.
Especially when, like, I mean, Well, we're going to need all that bomb money that Ukraine is taking and give it to Israel. That's going to be happening at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to figure that out.
The packages are just a slice of the enormous weapon sales and military funding that the U.S. approves for Israel annually. In 24, it provided a record $18 billion in military aid to Israel, according to analyst Stephen Semler of Polygraph. And we've covered Stephen Semler articles on this show before. All right. So this again is a somewhat long article. I encourage everyone to read it, reminding people that AIPAC's United Democracy Project, Super PAC, finished June with more than $38.7 million in cash on hand. And last cycle, they made some $61 million in disbursements, with tens of millions dropped on independent expenditures in congressional races. They're buying off all our lawmakers. That's the first one. I also wanted to call attention to Arturo Dominguez at Decolonized Journalism. He wrote a thing about the recent $50 million bounty that the Trump admin put on Maduro, which reeks of war criminal Eric Prince of Blackwater. Nuts. But what he's saying is that this has an MO. This has fingerprints all over it and behind it. All right. And that they just announced that an increase in the reward for Maduro's head. And then Maduro turned around and put a $50 million bonus bounty on Trump's head, which was hilarious. Last year, though, after Venezuela's most recent election, war criminal Eric Prince sought to have the bounty on Maduro increased to $100 million, saying he would lead a violent coup of the Venezuelan government if the Biden administration did so. Prince even recruited Florida Senator Voldemort Rick Scott and Marco Rubio, now Secretary of State, to lead the efforts to secure the money he was seeking. He even began fundraising from individuals with no word on where that money is. What a shock. Eric Prince raising dark money? Never. So, again, this goes into how he wants to be the mercenary that basically takes out Venezuela and runs the country afterwards, or at least controls the puppet. And you got to read the rest of this article to learn about the rest of it. Check out and support Arturo over at Decolonized Journalism. Good dude. ExtremeArturo.substack.com. Third story is another one that it's an Alan McLeod, and he just published this the other day. All right. And this is about Larry Ellison's kid, who now owns a company called Skydance. Well, Skydance bought Paramount, and Skydance bought CBS, then made Barry Weiss like head of CBS News, apparently. Insane. After reaching an agreement with Trump, David Ellison, the son of the second richest man in the world, Larry Ellison, has acquired Paramount Global, the media giant that owns CBS News. Larry Ellison, the largest private funder of the IDF, is deeply tied to the Israeli national security state and counts Benjamin Netanyahu among his closest war criminal friends. His son David has already announced significant changes at CBS, promising unbiased news coverage, as long as it's slanted towards Israel, and varied ideological perspectives, as long as they support Israel, which are widely understood as a signal shift toward right-wing pro-Trump coverage. Pro-Israel coverage, true. Two, worse still, Barry Weiss, a journalist with a long history of zealous pro-Israel advocacy, no, she's a Netanyahu toady, is being considered as the network's new ombudsman, shaping its political direction precisely because of her pro-Israel, pro-Zionism stance. Mint Press News examines Ellison's close ties to both Trump and Israel, Weiss's extensive career as Israel's most vocal supporter in the U.S., and what this means for the future of free and diverse speech in America. Again, this is one of the main corporate networks now being taken over by a son of a CIA defense contractor, Oracle. Although Skydance, Ellison's media empire, is officially headed by David, it's well understood that Father Larry holds both the purse strings and the reins of power. With a net worth of over $300 billion, placing him second on the Forbes list behind Elon Musk, Larry made his fortune by founding tech giant Oracle. Oracle started as a project for CIA. Indeed, it is named after Project Oracle, a 1970s CIA operation on which Ellison worked. For some time, CIA was Oracle's only customer until it began to win contracts with other agencies of the U.S. national security state. Today, although Oracle's customer base is much wider, it maintains its role as the privatized face of the CIA. Go read this Allen article. It is fascinating. All right, then it goes into, again, Barry Weiss, and The Dissident wrote a great article about that, also did a deep dive on Barry Weiss's background and history. We read through some of it about a month and a half ago, and I called it that Barry Weiss is a Netanyahu toady. It's a segment that's on the Indian INN YouTube channel, as well as one of the lightning round segments here on Indie Media Today and on INN's channel. But the Free Press, all right, that's the Substack that she founded with VC backing. All right, Barry could not have chosen a more Orwellian term for her authoritarian news outlet than taking a wrecking ball to Western journalists, the Western institutions on behalf of Israel, wrote a guy by the name of Autopilot. Even he knows what a fucking pathetic toady. Well, takes one CIA agent to recognize another one, I guess. The Free Press certainly has many powerful backers, having drawn investment from VCs such as Mark Andreessen and David Sachs, PayPal Mafia douchebags, as well as another Zionist, former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. Yet the price being quoted to Skydance for the sale of what remains little more than a Substack blog is remarkable. He wants to buy it. It just got valued at over $100 million. Now they're trying to sell it to him for between $200 and $250 million. Basically buying a propaganda outlet. For context, in 2013, Jeff Bezos paid $250 million for the Washington Post, which was a lot more impactful worldwide than the Free Press. So, again, read this article by Alan McLeod.
Do it.
All right, real quickly, I did have a couple of GoFundMes and things for people. Again, that's our wall of fame. If you're able to share in a means and able to support, got a couple of bucks in your pocket, hook us up on Cash App or Ko-fi, PayPal, our website or Substacks. You see all the links there on the screen. But I did want to show this. Our friend Joe Blank, we talked about Joe Blank last week and how he had put out a buy me a coffee, that he was really in a tough spot, needs to move out of his house. He was inspired to draw, and if anyone wants to buy these, they're available for sale. This is a pencil drawing of Richard Medhurst and looks like a black and white photograph. It's so fucking lifelike. Original 8.5 by 11 inch pencil portrait of Richard Medhurst done in UD nano diamond graphite on cream drawing paper. He said, I've been wanting to draw him since forever. Finally took the time to devote himself to the effort. He really loves it and hopes his appreciation for Richard's work shows. That's amazing. But he didn't only draw Richard this week. He also drew Whitney Webb. So that's an 8 by 8 pencil portrait in the same style. Audible gave him a second free trial, so he immediately downloaded volume 1 of One Nation Under Blackmail, something he's been wanting to do. After finishing Richard Medhurst the other day, I figured she's great all her own. Why not take the time and draw her? So here you are. The original is available, asking $150 with domestic shipping included. And you can either reply, reach out via DM, or visit his Buy Me a Coffee link if it's still available. All right. Shop, gallery, some of his previous work, random posts. All right. Or if you're just super kind and want to help a semi-disabled, starving artist keep drawing awesome people, any patronage is greatly supported. And again, That's his. This is his GoFundMe or go. You know, his buy me a coffee right here, and you can buy Joe a Lucky Strike. All right, and then again, I wanted to mention earlier we talked about Cowboy Kitty, Anthony Malecki's GoFundMe for his sister-in-law Natalia, working mother taken by ICE. Please help. They've raised over $1,000. They're about a quarter of the way to their goal. She'll probably need more than that. But again, a single mother. I don't even know if she's a single mother. She's a mom. Box truck driver taking care of her daughter. Been here 9 years. Applying for a green card in process. Taken into ICE custody and disappeared basically indefinitely. She was supposed to have a trial, and I thought she was supposed to get out. Last I heard, as of Friday night, she still was not out. Anthony, let me know. Is she out yet or not? I don't know. Terrible. But, yeah, please, if you're able to. Like I said a couple times, IndieNewsNow.com. This is what IndieNewsNow.com looks like right now. Look at that. Israel-Palestine News put a thing about catching up with Miss Rachel. Articles from Anti-War News and from the honest broker, Ted Joya, who we've read a lot of articles from. I bring his Substack in.
Go to my website.
Antiwar.com again. Israeli forces kill 59 in Gaza over 24 hours, including 35 who were seeking aid. And this update's 24/7 rolling. Also, this is where you can keep the news free and where you can support us with a pay link, or you can pick up some merch in our merch store. This is where you can also watch live. There's a watch live link there. Or you can just break down and say, just show me videos from other creators and INN combined. And there are a bunch of them there. There was Slow News Day from earlier today. And Charlie Robinson's Macroaggressions and Mob Rules from AM Wake Up's channel, etc., etc. You'll see a lot. Even Pro Wrestling Talk with Angel and Miss Witchy Perfect. All right. So go check out IndieNewsNow.com. And then we've got the merch store as well. All right. Where you can get some gear. This is a different merch store than the one that's embedded on the website. I'm working on getting that also embedded. This is a little bit less expensive on the shirts. They're mostly black and white shirts. They're not in different colors. All right. It's mostly about the images that are on it.
My shirt, little bitch.
That's right. Go to my website. So, yeah, man, we did it. We did it. So before we head out of here, these again are the amazing people that support our network financially, that have given us a tip somewhere on Rumble, on YouTube, on one of these places, Cash App, $, Indie News Network, Ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, PayPal.me/Indie News Network, IndieNewsNow.com, which we just showed you, or over at Substack at INNNewsletter.com, where we're about to be live for boats smashing into other boats, do our react show, or at IndieMediaToday.com, where this show has been live the entire for the last couple of hours. Thank you to everybody on Substack at Indie Media Today who has been watching, who's joined. Welcome to Decensored News. I see has popped in. Good to see you. Seven Signed Soul. Thank you for chatting over there. I wish more people did. Fred Edward did. I saw. Good to see everyone. Really, that's it. That we can chat over there, and I'm reading that and I'm seeing it. So thank you again. Lily likes. Yeah, likes if you got him. Lily's over on Rumble. Lily's great. Thank you, Lily. Appreciate you. Lone Star Viz. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Free Richie. I don't know what that's about, but free Natalia for sure. And support independent media because we need it more than ever. Because what the hell else are we doing here? You know, corporate media is lying to you. Half independent media is even fumbling the ball half the time. So please, you know, we need
all the time.
someone. We need someone to hold someone accountable here. So thank you for everyone that is. And we're going to keep doing it here. So thanks for supporting it, really. And have a good night, everyone. We'll see you for boats soon.
We are party. Mwah. Ciao, baby.
No! We just fucking lost the stream! No, we didn't, but we did earlier.
I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines, and when I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. They both bleed us so dry. My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say? I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say?